Hi, everyone. Well, welcome to another episode of Small Talk. It's time to meet another talented artist. His name is Elijah Chauvet. Welcome to the show, Elijah.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, the name you're in the band, correct?
Yes.
And the name of the band is 1002.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about the band. When did it begin?
So the band started back in 2016. Bunch of kids from Red Deer in high school who wanted to try something out with music.
So how many members are in the band?
There's currently 5 of us.
All right. And what do you do in the band?
I'm the lead singer and rhythm guitarist.
Oh, all right. So now before the band, were you performing alone?
Yeah, I started off performing, doing like some open mics and like farmers markets and smaller like acoustic style gigs by myself, kind of like singer-songwriter style. And then maybe about a year of doing that or less, I kind of linked up with the drummer of the band, and the two of us started the band back in 2016.
Okay. Now, are you self-taught when it comes to with the guitar, or have you had singing lessons?
I'm self-taught with guitar. I have lessons like training in a few other instruments, but guitar I was self-taught. Yeah.
Did you display any of your musical abilities when you were really young?
Yeah, I was in piano lessons, and there was always piano recitals, and then I was in concert band and jazz band as a drummer. And we'd always perform, and like the school shows and other things like that. And I was in like talent shows for singing when I was younger, and I would do like some of like the local Red Deer festivals where you get like adjudicated and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been performing for a decent while for sure.
Very good. What style of music does 1002 perform?
We're like that's always the tough question, but I think at this point we have gone with the term indie alternative. Okay. Just because it's very broad. It covers a lot of different genres, and it's definitely a genre that's kind of on the up and coming, and it's one of those genres where you can take a lot from different genres in indie alternative. You can dip into the rock side of things, you can dip into the more singer-songwriter acoustic style of things. So it's a very flexible genre that it gives you a lot of room for play for sure.
Is it all original material that you perform?
No, not always. We started playing covers, and we've kind of slowly shifted more and more towards playing just our music. And depending on how long we play, we play some covers as well for sure. But we're hoping eventually here to just be touring and playing our own music solely. But covers are always fun. You never know. Even some of the biggest acts, every once in a while in their shows, they'll throw in a cover too. So
yeah, for sure. I just had a question that just popped out of my brain. So you want to tour, so you haven't been touring yet, is that right?
Well, we have. We just actually finished like our first extended tour ever. We were on the road for a couple weeks, going through BC and parts of Alberta. Later this summer, we're going east to like Saskatoon, Regina, Winnipeg area, and then bits and pieces through the summer, like weekends we're touring through Alberta, like Red Deer, Alberta, or sorry, Red Deer's in Alberta. we're from Red Deer, Calgary, Edmonton, Brooks, places like that, just on weekends. But we've been doing that for a few years now. So this summer was the first time that we did like an extended tour and have a couple like legs planned like that. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the touring?
Oh, it was so much fun. It was our first time spending a couple weeks together in a van, touring, and a few hotels, few venues had us put up in different like B&Bs, and we had some arrangements of our own, and it was a ton of fun. We even did some camping, which was very interesting. We definitely learned a lot about ourselves through this tour, and we spend a lot of time together regardless. We're a tight group, so I don't think we were too worried about being on the road for an extended period of time. But I think like we had an absolute blast, and we were super tired when we got back. But I think we were all thinking the same thing. We were all thinking, like, when can we do it again, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You want to tell me the names of the other band members?
For sure. So Josh Chandler is our drummer. He's for a little bit of context too, we're all Red Deer pretty much born and raised. So yeah, he's our drummer. He's the one who started the band with me way back when we were 16. And for a while it's just him and I kicking it, playing like, small acoustic shows and farmers markets and open mics, just the two of us. And then the band slowly started to build and get more members. But and then the next member that joined is our lead guitarist. His name's Caden Shower. Another Red Deer local. He, we met him through the scene playing open mics, and he was in another band that we knew, and we started jamming with him, and he's super talented guitarist. Yeah, he's super creative guy. Love working with him. And then our keyboardist Emma joined. She was in a rock band program at the same high school as our guitarist Caden, and we knew her from the scene as well. Met her in some open mics and things like that, and she joined maybe like 6 months after Caden did. Caden joined about a year into Josh and I playing, year and a half. And then our current bassist Chase Bishop joined about a year and a half after Emma joined. We had different bassists before then, and he was also in that rock band program. And so yeah, it was just he came along after our last bassist quit, and he really tied it all together. He's from that rock band program too, and then now the group has been this arrangement of 5 for the last, I want to say, 3 or so years. So
yeah. Now, do you all write the songs?
We all have a part in it for sure. Usually most people are responsible for their parts, or sometimes people have ideas for each other's parts and things like that. The songs are usually started by me or our lead guitarist Caden. Usually we have like the bass line ideas, and maybe one of us will completely take the reins and write a whole song and show it to everyone and give everyone ideas for their parts. Or sometimes they're a little more collaborative and they start with just a chord progression or just a chorus idea, and then we all like help build it. But usually like everyone at least has some kind of part in making the songs all together. But it's kind of it can be different every time with who makes the song, or like if we all have a bigger piece in making it.
I recently spoke to a member of a band, and he said that for them, they always start with the music first, and then write the lyrics to the music. So how does it work with you guys?
I would say it's usually the same. It would usually start with a chord progression, but every once in a while, since I'm the lead singer, a lot of the times I'm thinking about lyrics and melodies, and a lot of the time for me, it does start with a chord progression, as it does with everyone else with the music. But every once in a while, some lyrics or like a melody line will pop into my head, and I'll kind of write around that. But I would say the large majority of the time, it's usually music first, and then lyrics and melodies over top of that for sure.
Have you recorded any of your songs?
Yeah, we've recorded a ton. We have a bunch of experience in the studio. We released our first single to like all the major streaming platforms in 2019. And then we followed that up with an EP in March of 2020 that had 5 songs on it, 4 originals, and we got their copyright for a popular cover that we do, that we like really made our own and put our our own touch on it, and people people really love that one. And then a couple weeks ago, I think maybe a month now, about a month now actually, we just came out with another single. It's called Cherry Sunrise, and that one's on all major platforms now, and we'd been working on that one for a long time, recorded it almost 2 years ago, and finally put it out. And that was the reason that we went on tour as well, because we finally came out with another single and wanted to tour it.
Yeah. So what was that song about?
That song it's a very rock influenced song, rock alternative, I would say, indie rock. And I actually did not I had a part in writing some of the lyrics for that, but that was a big collaboration with my lead guitarist Caden. He's the one who started and wrote a fair chunk of that song. But Cherry Sunrise is kind of a very therapeutic song, talking about like messages of like hope and keeping your head up, even though in times it's really easy to get lost in everything, and to lose yourself in that, and to kind of lose hope. And it's kind of a message of like kind of self-discovery and kind of trying to keep your head above water when it's not always so easy to do so.
Right. What is your vision for the band?
I think with all of us, we want to reach the point where this is what we do full time. We tour, we make music, maybe we're headlining our own tour, maybe we're, supporting band on tour for like a bigger tour. But I think we just want to get to the point where this is sustainable for all of us. We have, somewhat of a dedicated following, maybe nationally or internationally, whatever that might look like, where we can just tour, make music, and that's our lives. Do all the things that a commercial artist would do. And I don't think any of us are necessarily chasing the ginormous success and fame, and if that came, that would be amazing. But I think for the most part, all of us just want to be able to do this like sustainably and do this for the rest of our lives.
Right. So what do you think the age group is of your following?
That's a tough one. It changes all the time. We started off playing for a crowd that is reasonably older than us. Just the bars and the events that we got hired for were a lot of people in their 40s and 30s, and like quite a bit older than us. We're all quite young. We started gigging like around the age of like 16 to 18.
Nice.
And the people who listen to our music more dedicatedly is probably closer to our age, which is kind of in that 18 to 22 area. But our like the statistics on our listeners is changing all the time. Some weeks when music's we had a music spike last week where our music kind of got a little bit of traction in the US, and then our age range of people totally changed more to like the 34 to 50 area. And then before, our stats were way more swayed towards like the 22 to 30 or like the 20 to 30 area. So it's tough to say. But our music usually does pretty well with anyone like in their teen years all the way to people in their 50s. We try and be like very and like inclusive with our sound, and we find our sound to be like very accessible to people of different age ranges, and for people of different musical tastes, and people who like different genres. So it's tough to say, but I like to tell everyone that it's really like for anyone.
Right. Yeah, as music should be, I think, right?
Right.
Or could be. I shouldn't say should, but could be. So
Right.
is it the type of music where the audience gets up and dances?
Sometimes we have music of kind of all different tempos and feels. Some of it is very sit down and listen and just take it all in, and some of them is pretty upbeat, fast, dancing, clapping, singing along kind of stuff. So some of it, yeah, some of it is different. It depends on the song, I guess.
Yeah, right. During COVID, were you doing any online performing?
Yeah, we actually did a lot of live streaming through COVID. We would get together when we were allowed to be in more than groups of like 5 or 10 or whatever it was indoors, and we'd live stream on Facebook and Instagram. We would just go through both feeds, set up a couple phones. We had a system set up through our soundboard and our iPhones where it would pick up the sound through that, so we get like a nice mix, and we would go live on Facebook and Instagram and perform for people, and ask them to follow our page, maybe make a donation to like one of our e-transfers or something like that. And just mostly trying to bring some awareness. We found some like cool live streaming groups where they were like promoting artists to live stream. Some of them were like preset shows where there were like a lineup, and you'd have to wait until like 7 or 8 p.m. or whatever your time slot was, and then they would send you a message that said, okay, you're good to go, and then you'd go live for their audience who's already there waiting. So it was cool. We did lots of stuff like that, tried to keep up with our content on social media, although it's not always easy.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we were allowed to, we were like performing outdoors, and we performed live that whole summer of 2020 outdoors like crazy. Same thing with 2021 when things opened up. Like the second that the rules changed and you were allowed to perform somewhere, outdoor, indoor, we were on it, because performing and just playing music in general for people is so much part of our lives that we couldn't stay away from it for too long. So we did whatever we could, basically.
Cool. Who came up with the name of the band, by the way?
The drummer and I, when we started the band, it's been so long that I can't remember it actually who had the idea.
Yeah.
But it was one of the two of us, and we went through a couple names, and Yeah, we landed on that one, and I wish I could tell you who it was, but him and I just kind of share that one collectively because we brainstormed so many names and tried so many at like open mics and things like that, and that was the one that stuck. That I can't remember who was the one who said it first, but I'll just say that we collectively decided on it together.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you know, when you interview, as I have a lot of bands, you know, the names are always fascinating to me. You know, how did you come up with that particular name, right?
Right.
So that's kind of cool. So
For sure.
yeah, for sure. So now you said you have some touring coming up. Is that correct?
Yeah. So some of it is still being put together, but
Mhm.
we have a bunch of dates around Alberta and some that are still like in the booking process. But we're kind of constantly touring through Alberta. Like everything is close enough that, you know, we do a weekend in Calgary, a weekend in Edmonton, you know, a hometown show. So it's less so like on the road for an extended period of time versus like just more so just dipping into places over weekends and stuff because it's close enough that we can do that. But in July, we're going out east through like Saskatoon, Regina, and Winnipeg. In August, we're going back through BC, potentially going out to one of the islands for a festival. We have a booking in Fernie in August.
Okay.
Going back through Banff, a bunch of places. So we're kind of here, there, and everywhere this summer in like middle or like central and like Western Canada.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a website, by the way?
We do, yeah. It's just www.1002music.com.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty straightforward. We're on all platforms. Our Instagram is 1002 official. Our Facebook is 1002 music. Our TikTok is 1002 music. I believe our YouTube is 1002 official, but on any of those platforms, we're definitely like searchable enough that if you search in 1002 TEN02, it pops up.
Right. Okay. Well, I can't think of anything else. Is there anything you'd like to add before we close off?
No, maybe just, you know, to let everyone know to check our music out. It's everywhere, all platforms. Check us out online. And if you're in the area, try and, you know, look at our website for show information or hit us up on social media and we'll tell you where to come check us out live.
Yeah. And I think anybody who goes to a live event is so much more enjoyable, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Playing live is like one of my favorite parts and my bandmates too. We play a lot. We play live a lot.
Good. Yeah, glad to hear that. Okay, well, we're going to just end there. Just stay on the camera. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. So, yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. That was Elijah Chauvet with the 1002 Music band, name of the band, and check them out and support. You know, I always encourage everybody to try to support musicians. It's so entertaining for everybody. Like without music, I mean, what kind of world would we be living in, right? It would just be terrible. So with that being said, take care, everybody, and peace out. See you next time.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.